All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the E-commerce Revolution podcast. This is episode 21. We're getting up there, so it is very exciting to do this. This is our second one going live, so forgive us a little bit if we are, maybe we fumble on our words or maybe we don't get something perfect. We are going to continue to do this live. We'll be doing it live, by the way, on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook Live at the moment. We are also on YouTube Live. We will do replays immediately after. These will become available. I would say not immediately. Obviously, it has to go through a process, but it'll shortly after be available to everybody as a replay. And then we will also put the audio version of these podcasts up through all the major networks. We do have our own, podcast channel that we've been doing for quite a while now. 21 episodes in, and thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. My name is Ramin. I'm one of the managing partners at SKU Agency. It's great to have everybody here. I love doing these podcasts. I learn so much each and every time that I walk away from these things with literally notes in my head. I got to get them down on paper because the information that our guests provide to us are incredibly important to help you grow your e-commerce business. So you're going to love today's episode. If you're a fan of AI, and I don't mean, this gets thrown, the word AI, artificial intelligence gets thrown around a lot these days, but like true AI, and you are consistently using your email and SMS marketing to grow your e-commerce business, AI is all around us. This is the episode for you. And if you're, think about it, you can get your doors unlocked now with AI. You can have copy written for your website via AI, and there's some really good ones out there. But did you know that it actually can help you boost conversions when it comes to email and SMS marketing? So that is what the topic at hand is today, and you are going to love our guest. He has held positions as lead software engineer, head of analytics, data science at top companies like Tapcommerce and Twitter. He holds a bachelor's of science in computer science, or a BS in computer science, and an MBA. So he's not only a software engineer, but he also understands how to scale a business, which is I got to ask him about that because those are very different mindsets. And how does he work those two together to help grow his company? He's now in charge of his own destiny as co-founder and CEO of Apteo. Apteo helps e-commerce brands personalize their marketing campaigns by predicting what their customers will buy next. I mean, think about how powerful that is. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of the podcast, as our guest will be revealing an amazing tip that he knows will help our guests or anybody out there take their business to the next level. So without any further ado, please welcome Sharif Dhanani. I apologize. Listen, I have a hard name too. Sharif, come on. Where are you? Are you there?
Hey,
there you
I'm
are.
right here. Thanks for the intro.
Right.
I mean, great to be here.
You're very welcome. And I, we talked ahead of time, and we both come from similar parts of the world. I remember, as I said, with last names, I always like to ask to make sure, because I was the guy in class where the teacher would get to me and say, just stop.
Yep.
They wouldn't even say anything. So I just raised my hand and say, I'm here.
Present.
So,
yep. I've been there. And with me, it's both the first name and the last name. So I know exactly how you
too.
feel.
Right. Exactly. Yep. So we live in similar worlds. Where are you calling in from today?
I'm in Midtown Manhattan. So for those of you in New York, 49th and 2nd.
Oh, beautiful. I love New York. New York is, my wife and I got engaged there.
Nice.
New York has a special place in my heart. So I love the energy of the city. And I assume everything's coming back to normal in New York?
Yeah, it's been good for the past, let's say, 6 to 10 months now. I remember, I don't know if you ever saw New York as a ghost town, but I saw it as a ghost town twice.
I've never seen that before. I've never seen it.
Blew my mind, yeah. First time was during the hurricane, which was like 10, 12 years ago. And then the last time was in the COVID pandemic. I remember going to Penn Station and it was just totally empty. But, we're all back to normal now. Everyone's out on the streets and it's really crowded again. So It's nice to see.
Yeah. We need that energy of New York. I think it in many ways, keeps in my head, at least, part of the entrepreneurial spirit. You get that, especially if you have great ideas in the middle of the night, you can go somewhere and get some food, right? And continue to work. Yeah. Continue to work. Well, you have a and thank you again for coming on today. I know you probably have a very busy schedule, running your company, but coming on to talk about this important topic of AI and how it can really help boost, email and SMS, and also we'll dive in, also how it works within, an e-commerce site as well, how it can help. So that is very important. I think, our last guest who came on live, he spoke about. We've gone from the age of building e-commerce sites, when design and development was very important, to now marketing has become very, very important. And he had a theory that, analytics and data will become the next frontier after this. And you're really kind of putting that all together. So before we dive into the meat of the topic, I'm just curious, you have a very, very interesting, two very interesting degrees and very important degrees, from the MBA side of things to computer science. Just tell me, how have those two degrees helped position you for the leader that you are right now within your company? Just to give people a little background.
Yeah, I appreciate that. There was like maybe two other guys in my MBA program who knew programming. So you're right. It's not very common. I think the thing with me is I've considered myself like a data and tech geek for my whole life. So that's kind of where my interests have been. But early on, I very quickly realized, look, it's not just about creating code, right? Creating code is part of a larger business goal to hopefully create value for your customers, drive profits, and make a better life. And so like I found myself early on in my career just programming all the time, but not realizing like how that was translating into anything more than just me sitting in front of a computer. And so I really quickly realized, look, I've always wanted to start a company. I've always been sort of entrepreneurial. And so I realized I would need to gain additional skill sets like sales, marketing, all super important. So by combining sort of the technical background with a little bit more of an understanding of, general business practices, I am sort of now able to understand how we should focus our time at Apteo, where we should be allocating resources, what we should be spending money on, whether or not I should be jumping into a part of the code or I should be, spending time on some other things. So it's given me sort of more perspective and a better tool set for managing my resources, I would say.
That's great. And how often, by the way, do you jump back into code?
Yeah, it's funny, when we first started the company, I was just heads down coding all day, every day. Then as time went on, I sort of spent like 50% of my time. Now I'm probably not doing more than 10% of my time in the code.
Okay.
A lot of that is spent on the AI side of things, since that's really where my forte is. So it's not as often as it used to be. And that's a good sign. Like, you as a founder want to see yourself transition out of just the building piece more into sales and marketing and growing a team as well.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm sure you enjoy the code and getting in there. So it's probably hard to also, say, all right, I'm only going to do 10%. I'm going to let others, take on those roles, and I'm going to focus more on strategy and, building the company. But, your background, your love is in the code, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. I called myself a data geek, and I think I always will be, especially like on the AI side of things. I find that stuff fascinating. But, when you're starting a company, you realize you have to do what's best for the company. And right now, what's best is, me starting to do more sales and marketing.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I've heard, I was the e-commerce badassery show, when you do refer to yourself as the geek, right? That's and it's a fun word. I think it's lighthearted. Kind of tells you where your passion and your love is, really, at the end of the day, I think.
That's true.
Thinking back to Tap Commerce and Twitter, and I think Twitter eventually bought Tap Commerce. Your role, the roles that you led in those companies, how did they prepare you for your entrepreneurial journey?
It's a really interesting question. Tap Commerce, I was there in the very early days, where when you're doing a startup, the first part of it is really finding a problem that's worth solving and then building a solution to that problem. And Tap Commerce taught me a lot about doing that. We started with a totally different product than what we ended with, and we probably had like 10 or 12 pivots along the way. And so what I learned was moving quickly. There's a lot of value in moving quickly, building a product, pushing it out there, even if it's not perfect, and seeing what users are using it for. And at Twitter, what I learned was a lot of the technical skills that make a really good scalable product. And so by combining both of those, I kind of use those in Apteo for my current company. And we learned, what we did was we built a few products early on that were designed to test the market, see what people were interested in using, use that for feedback, understood what people were using it for, and then move quickly through the iterations of our product to land on what we are doing today. And so I learned, those two early ventures. One early venture at Ecommerce, and sort of my time at Twitter, I learned how to sort of iterate very quickly, how to start identifying a product people actually have, and how to start talking to people to build a solution that actually matters to them.
Nice. That's great. I mean, in the early days, those big companies didn't exactly have the game plan either, right? You guys were all figuring it out over there. And, now we've come into this place where, you're using agile methodologies where, everything is now defined, right? You have a definition, and, to get that, that experience with those big companies, especially in those early days, and being able to take it and apply it to what you're doing now. I mean, that is incredibly valuable. And I'm sure you're very grateful that you had those chances. And now you can scale your business to the next level too with those.
That's the goal, and that's the hope.
Yeah. Yep. I love it. I love it. Well, let's get into the meat of the topic. AI, predictive analytics, personalization. Some of these things that maybe potentially a lot of our listeners don't even know. They've heard the buzzwords, right? They've heard those words being thrown around. Maybe you could just take a few minutes and explain them, if you could. Just AI, predictive analytics, and personalization. What they mean in the world of e-commerce.
Yeah, it's funny how often these words are thrown around right now. And I've spent probably 12 or 13 years studying this stuff. Back when I first started, it wasn't called really AI. It was information and systems engineering when I was in school. And that's a really good term for it, information engineering. So really when you've got AI today, really what it is using math to find patterns. So when you cut through all of the confusion, you've got a bunch of different pieces of data, and you're using math to find patterns in that data to get to something that you care about. That's kind of how I think about AI as the overarching term. Now, today, the media is talking about AI creating, content, creating images, creating art. Right. Well, it's able to do that because it can use math to understand what makes good content, on the internet, and then just use those patterns to create new content. Now, that's kind of the overall AI field. And then really where I've sort of focused my career is predictive analytics and machine learning. Again, more buzzwords. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, predictive analytics is just using math to find some patterns in a bunch of data you care about to understand and forecast the future. So in our case, we use data to see what people have bought in the past and use that to forecast what they're going to buy in the future. Or we use data to forecast what ads they're clicking on or what emails they're clicking on, and then what they're going to click on next. So when I'm talking about AI, it really just comes down to, like I said, getting a data set together. You can just think of that as a giant spreadsheet. Really, that's what it comes down to. And feeding that spreadsheet into this sort of machine program that looks through the spreadsheet and finds the data points that matter the most. That's a simplification, but that's really what it is today.
Yeah, no, I love it. And, I think, every e-commerce leader out there is looking for that edge. Give me that edge to help, drive more sales. Let me understand more about my customers. And if any kids are at any point listening to this, the word math was just used 3 times. So if you think that math is not important, and my son always asks me, why do we need why do I need this? Why do I need this? He works really hard at it, but he always wants to know why, right? And this is why. I mean, this is honestly, at the end of the day, it's still very, and especially as we move into the next frontier, right? This is going to be incredibly important. So take note, everybody. Study math. Understand. Understand everything you need to know about it. So just, in your intake notes, you mentioned the importance of building relationships with customers, which I absolutely think is essential right now in this day and age. How does AI, how does predictive analytics, how does personalization help build those relationships?
As a marketer today, I really feel for them because they've got a tough job. They're competing against lots of people. They have to pay a lot of money for something that they didn't before with ads. And so this is where retention starts to become really important. And when you think about retention, at least when our company thinks about it, there's 2 sides. There's sort of the qualitative and then the quantitative. And you got to have both, right? So where we focus is quantitative, like making sure you can get the right message to the right person. But to your question, like you really have to develop a relationship with people so that they're going to open your emails to begin with, or they're going to look at your SMS and not mark you as spam, or they're going to be delighted by a product that they receive from you in the mail. And a lot of that today, it's funny. I was just watching, I think, a show, Good Morning America, and they were talking about all the nameless brands that are out there today who are just trying to shove products in your face.
Yeah.
And today, people really want to hear a story. They want to understand why you started your company. What's the products? Where did the product inspiration come from? Or what is it that you're trying to do that's above and beyond just getting another sale? And for the brands that we work with that do that have some sort of story, or build a relationship with their customers, or offer them things other than just sales, these brands are doing really well. And so when we think about, retention, and when we think about marketing today, ignoring top of the funnel for a second and just talking about retention, the brands that are doing really well are mixing the stories that they tell with the sales and products that they're offering in a way that their customers start to understand, hey, look, there's like real people behind this company. There are real sort of products and things that not only benefit me, but there's somebody out there who I'm helping by buying their products. And it's a very vague concept. We help brands do it in specific ways with email, but that's kind of how we think about marketing today.
Yeah, no, that is, that concept of, building a relationship, but, not being this faceless, component. I always say to, when I'm talking to brands, entrepreneurs, when they're first starting, a lot of times they don't believe that their story is important in the mix. I'm like, well, you started the company for a reason, again, unless you went at it just purely to make some money and that was it. Other than that, tell your story, tell, why you got to this point. People want to hear it, do a video. I mean, simple things like that, pay attention to your About Us page. People actually read those things. And I do believe that especially, you go on Amazon, it's very anonymous, right? All those brands have flooded Amazon with products. The alternative is having these actual dedicated sites where people are, it's their owned marketing, they are building it. So focus on that. I agree with you. It's a great concept. And, it goes beyond, I guess, technology. Sometimes it's just simple video, something about who you are, and then start to incorporate that important technology to help foster those relationships, really help take them to another next level. So, we at SKU Agency, we love email and SMS, mainly because we love to see the results. The results are fantastic. I mean, obviously, much more exciting to, share amazing, growth results than it is to maybe just design a website and here's your website. So I'm sure you get the opportunity to see a lot of what's happening in these two important channels at the end of the day. But just before let's talk about where the world is going. And, another term that gets thrown around a lot, the cookieless future, coming, and, all of these, things, first party data, not a word that necessarily is thrown around, an important word, right? Making sure that you're growing and building that first party data. How will AI, and how is AI playing a role in helping e-commerce leaders drive more conversions from, this first party data right now at this pivotal moment in our history?
This is such an important concept. I don't think e-commerce marketers understand how big a deal this is. So they saw the initial stages of it a couple of years ago when Facebook ads got hit, and all of a sudden their costs skyrocketed. But almost bigger than that is what's coming next year, when, like you said, Google is getting rid of third-party cookies in Chrome, the world's most at least in America, the most popular browser. And ultimately, the impact of both of these events is that marketers are going to have to pay a lot more money to run ads that don't do as well. And so it's going to really impact the bottom line. And first party data is a way to sort of get around some of these issues. What's happening today, or what was happening, is you have all of these large tech companies like Google and Facebook collecting information in a way that uses sort of third party data. That's not going to be available, at least not to the same extent. So you as a brand now, you're kind of responsible for ensuring that you've got as much data on your customers as you can get, so that you can use that to use your own O&O, owned and operated channels, like email, like SMS, even using things like third-party tools like Facebook ads in a little bit more efficient way. So AI is going to be able to help optimize the data you collect. But you have to start collecting the data. It's definitely on you. But then in order to be able to use that data properly, that's where AI can sort of come in and help you make decisions. once you've got information on your customers, you're going to be able to say, hey, look, like this group of customers, they're really likely to, they're likely to never come back unless I send them a big discount, and AI can help find those customers. Or this group of customers right here, they're going to respond to receiving a bundle offer more than these groups of customers here. So I'm going to send these guys a bundle. AI is going to help you find which groups of customers those are. And AI is going to help you find, the best products to show to each, let's say, segment of customers, or even each individual customer. So, the first half of the problem is collecting the data, and I'll talk more about that at the end. And then the second half is really, how do you use it? We've seen that a lot of brands want to be able to use their data, but sometimes they don't know how, or they don't have the resources, and it's really tough for them. And I think that's where AI will come in, saving time, and then obviously optimizing conversions, the whole sort of topic of today's show.
Yeah, well, it's good. That's good news. I mean, I guess anybody who maybe thinks they need to hire a data scientist, that's not true. You can, utilize, software like, Apteo and others maybe out there that can help different levels, right, of the data, but not having that data, that's the biggest problem right now. And I think that, we see a lot of brands, they know this is coming. They've heard the buzzwords, but they haven't done anything about it. And we encourage them, listen, quizzes, capture on your email survey, just continue to ask your customers when appropriate, don't overdo it, but continue to learn more about your customers, because then software can take over and help you do something with that information that you just pulled together. I always think of mattress companies. Mattress companies do such a good job. These bed in the box companies where they use quizzes. A lot of them are using quizzes. They are learning so much about us, and they're just stockpiling that. And then obviously probably, predicting, when are we going to buy the next mattress? When should they hit us up with an email? Is it 3 years later? What is it? Do we have kids? Do we not have kids? I mean, all of this fascinating information that helps ultimately drive sales. So that's great. That's great. So talk to me a little bit about the software specifically, in terms of, I'm an e-commerce leader and I install it. And what happens then? What does the process look like?
Our goal is always to help people, to provide people with the tools that they need to use data better. So we actually we do that in a couple of different ways. We've got offerings for people who want to be totally hands off and automate everything. And we've got something for people who want to dive deep for 2 hours a day and understand their customers. On the first side, you got, let's say, full-fledged automations. Now, what does the software do in that case? Well, let's say you install Apteo. After a couple of hours, if you're a really big store, maybe a little bit longer, what's going to happen is we're going to have a bunch of things for you to look at. So we're going to have automatically generated segments that you can send over to your email tools like Klaviyo. And we're going to have, for each of your customers, we're going to have, let's say, the top 6 products that we think that they're going to buy. And we'll send those over to your customer profiles on Klaviyo automatically. So now you, as a marketer, can say, look, I just want to set things up automatically. I don't want to spend a lot of time. So you connect your Klaviyo account, you set up an email campaign that uses those that uses our widgets to basically install these personalized recommendations for each customer. And then you hit send. And you save that as a template, and you hit send, or you set it up as a flow. And then you don't have to do anything other than make sure that these emails go out. But when these emails go out, they're going to dynamically show to each customer the products that they're most likely to buy. And this results in fairly predictable revenue. Like, a lot of our customers are doing these are what we call sort of personalized product recommendations once every 2 to 3 weeks. And they're generating, anywhere from 4 to 10% of their monthly sales just using these tools. And all they have to do is, sometimes all they have to do is hit send. Other times they don't even have to do anything. They're just setting it up as a flow. So you, as a marketer, really busy, you can have these personalized recommendations set up. Now, what if you're like an agent? We work a lot with agencies, and agencies are responsible for creating these really high-performing campaigns. So what they like to do is we also offer analytics. Predictive analytics is what we call them. So like what that looks like is, this group of people bought these 3 products to start with. We think they're going to buy these 4 products next. And this group of people did this, and this group of people likes these 2 products together. So you, as an agency, can say, all right, I'm going to target this group of people that Apteo found, and Apteo is telling me they like these 2 products as a bundle, and they're telling me that I should wait 1 month since the most recent purchase. And so now I, as an agency, go into my email tool, I use all this information, create the email, and send it out. So if you're looking to get that level of understanding, you can do that. Most of our companies who are just brands like the automation piece, but ultimately what it's doing is it's kind of taking the guesswork out of deciding who to send something to and what to send them. And it's really making it easy for you to just automatically or sort of with high confidence know what content to send to people. And that's where we really help on the email side and the SMS side.
Wow. I mean, I feel like it's a no-brainer. I mean, honestly, like, why would you not want to know this information? Why would you not want to, send the right information at the right time to the right people? And now, I guess, talk to me a little bit about the machine learning. I mean, this is a concept that, I obviously have, being slightly in the space here, but I don't know exactly. I mean, I get that the system is probably learning over time. Patterns. What's happening exactly in the machine learning side?
And I'll do my best not to talk your ear off, because I can get into this all day. But if you start with the end in mind, you as a marketer are trying to send the most personalized, impactful email to your customers. One strategy for doing that is to show each customer the products that they want, or even the collections that they want. And another strategy is sending it to the right people at the right time. So when it comes to the machine learning, we've got a few different things going on. So we've got this one, we call it a model, one machine learning model that's responsible for finding the best products for each individual customer. So how does it do that? Well, when someone connects to Apteo, we actually get the past 10 years of data about their store, if they've been in business for that long. And that's, the lifeblood of AI, the lifeblood of machine learning is data. So we get a lot of data about what their customers have done in the past. And we get all this information about their customers, everything from like, what's their name, which we can use to predict their gender, to like, where do they live, to how many times have they bought this particular product in the past 3 months? How many times have they looked at this product in the past 1 week? We get all this information. We have about 107 different attributes that we use about each customer. But what are we doing with that? Well, when you have this information about people, you can see what they've done in the past. You can see what you knew about them in the past, and you can have a machine start to find patterns. Like I said, you can use math to find patterns about what they've done in the past, and then start to find how does that relate to what they did later on in their relationship with the store. So you can think of it as like, you take a snapshot of all your customers at some point in time, you figure out what they did a little bit later at some point in time, and then you feed all this data to a machine. And then the machine finds all these patterns. And then as of today, it says, look, this is everything I know about John Doe, about Jane Smith, about all thousands of my customers. Given what I've learned about, not only them, but all the customers from the store, I can forecast what they're going to do in the future. And by forecasting these things, you can, as a marketer, you can make sure you show the right products. You can make sure you show the right collections. You can do things like, hey, I think this person, if I've got a subscription product, I think this person might churn based on everything I've kind of figured out about them. So I'm going to send them a preemptive email that says, hey, take 20% off your next purchase. So you as a marketer can get ahead of people's tendencies and behaviors. And it really all comes down to being able to understand what people from your store have done in the past and how that sort of relates to the future actions.
Wow. I mean, I love the fact that you guys can go back in time and, once it's installed, I feel like, you can, make, differences very quickly with that data, but by having the app installed. And then, we talk a lot about customer lifetime value. If you have not been paying attention to your, to customer lifetime value, all of a sudden you can, I assume, you can look at this information that the app is, and the machine learning behind the app is bringing to the table, and start to look at these people and, how do I make some changes? How do I increase? Boy, my customer lifetime value is not as strong as I thought it was. I thought people liked my brand. I thought they liked it, but apparently not. What can I do to increase it? And then start, adding additional tools and additional pieces of software, and, really diving further into the app itself to help drive that. I think that has got to be incredibly powerful. Again, I feel like no brainer. Like everybody should be utilizing this. I mean, so thank you for explaining that. That's, I think from a lay person, who's not on the computer science side of things, that completely helps me understand what's going on there. Let's talk about email and SMS, and how we can go about boosting. Your platform integrates with Klaviyo. It also integrates with Mailchimp too, correct?
Yep.
But let's face it. We'll call it what it is. All right, here that Klaviyo. Yeah, exactly. Klaviyo is the go-to. Especially, we've had experience on both, the go-to for e-commerce brands out there. Given its incredible bit, I'll say it's not, the interface is beautiful to look at, but there is so much in Klaviyo that can be leveraged that most brands don't know. And that's why they come to agencies, and that's why they need additional software to help it work. But just tell me from your standpoint. So, first of all, integration, how easy is it to integrate Klaviyo with Apteo?
Yeah, we love Klaviyo. It's got, I think, like 80 to 90% of our customers use it. The integration is really easy. Many thanks to Klaviyo. They have this ability to create what's called an API key. So you create this API key under your account settings, and then you just copy and paste it into Apteo. Now, once you do that, our system takes over from there, and we do everything from being able to sync segments and recommendations to customers over on Klaviyo, to actually pulling information from Klaviyo, like, who's opening what emails, or even who's clicking on what products. So it's, if you do it right, and most people don't have any issues with it, it's like a 30-second process. You copy and paste your API key into Apteo, and then from there, our system will take over. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible for people to use it.
And specifically, what does it see once it's integrated? What are the specifics that it sees?
So there's a bunch of stuff. So Klaviyo, great partner. We have a push-pull integration, like I said. So as far as what it sees, there's a few things that we do. So the first thing that we do is, let's talk about the push side of things. Now, we use your e-commerce platform like Shopify or WooCommerce or BigCommerce to get information about transactions. And so the first thing that we do is we use that information to create a certain set of segments. And you can think of these as people who've done certain things in the past, or who are likely to do certain things in the future. Now, if you've integrated your Klaviyo account, we are able to take information about new information that we didn't get from the platform and use that when creating segments. So what does that mean? Well, Klaviyo has this ability to find what people are looking at on your website, like what products they're looking at, or did somebody add to a cart. It also has information about which customers are opening and clicking emails. And so we can take this information and use it to make segments. And then, we generally create anywhere from 10 to thousands of segments for each customer, depending on the products, depending on their behavior. We had one customer who had 17,000 products, and we created like thousands of segments for them. And then you as a user can push those segments over to Klaviyo. So there's this little toggle on our website that says, sync this to Klaviyo. As soon as you do that, we'll push this data over. And then on the flip side, like I said, when we are predicting what people are doing, when we are predicting what affinity, product affinity, or collection affinity they have, we'll pull in data from Klaviyo. So yes, what do we see? Well, we see things like, did they click on, how many times did they click on an email? How many times did they receive an email? How many times did they view a product? If you've got that integration with Klaviyo and your website, how many times did they add a product to your cart? So these are all pieces of information that we're taking in from Klaviyo, and then, I said we're pushing stuff back to Klaviyo as well.
Okay, and just tell me, your software better than anybody else. What are a few tips that let's say somebody wants to take the less hands-on approach with your software, and they've integrated it with Klaviyo. Maybe they have an agency helping them. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're pulling this off on their own. What few things can they do right away to help boost those conversion rates straight out of their email and even SMS?
There's so many things. It's funny, we work with a couple of agencies, and I just talking with one of them, and he was like, there's so many things you can do with Apteo. And so when you first get started, I would recommend starting small. The first thing I would recommend doing is obviously installing Apteo, connecting Klaviyo, and then running a single campaign using what we call our personalized product recommendations. Just send it to your active customers and have those sort of 3 to 4 placeholder widgets in place, and let Apteo fill in those widgets with the products that each customer is likely to buy. And then send it out and look at the performance, right? Look at the open rates and click rates, but more importantly, look at the conversion rates. And what you might find, what we found with a lot of our customers, is when you compare a personalized product email recommendation like this to maybe a more generic email where you're just offering a sale, or you're just offering like your best sellers across to all your customers, you're going to find that conversion rates are a little bit higher, like 4 to 5% higher with the personalized product recommendations, which is, obviously a good amount when your conversion rates are 6-7% or lower. And just do that. Just do it once. It's going to take you maybe 20 minutes to get up and running to create the content, and see how it does. And then maybe next week, what you do is you say, okay, well, that worked well. Let me try something else. And Apteo has found sort of this group of customers. We call them at-risk and dormant customers. Let me try to win some of them back, and use Apteo's data to target these customers with an email and offer them 10 or 15% to come back to your store. What you'll find is that the win-back rates for these people tend to be pretty high, to be maybe higher than your existing win-back campaigns, because our system kind of finds people who are likely to, our system finds people who are at risk and dormant in a way that's, based on their individual purchase habits. Instead of doing something like, hey, everyone who hasn't made a purchase in the past 60 days is considered at risk, our system says, look, this person used to buy 3 times a week, now they don't buy at all. Or this person used to buy twice a week in the past 6 months, and now they don't do this. So use those segments to create these initial campaigns. A/B test them against your existing strategies and see how they're doing.
Yeah, that's great. So that's where that predictive analytics then, come back, especially if you can go back in history and look at some of that data. And I think that the power of all of that comes in. And it sounds like maybe there's just literally from the get-go a few things you can do immediately to really boost those conversions, rather than taking this, we're very, we utilize, data as well within Klaviyo and within Shopify. But what I'm hearing and what I'm feeling here is that Apteo is really going to help bridge that gap and make it so much easier to understand the patterns, right? And then not send to everybody, and we don't do that. We send to very to segments, but to really build strong segments, stronger segments than you could just normally inside of Klaviyo.
Building the strongest segments is really one thing we focus on, and then sending the best content to the people in those segments is the other thing that we focus on. And Klaviyo has some tools for this, but we've heard that people find them hard to use, and it's not as easy to understand the data in Klaviyo. And so that's really why people are using us today. And so, to your point, you don't want to send the same message to your entire list. You really want to focus to a certain extent, create a targeted message. And it really does make a difference when it comes to revenue when you do stuff like this.
Yeah. Do you feel, I always talk about modern email marketing, that we are in what we call modern email marketing. I mean, the old school way was, you just send a newsletter out to everybody, right? Yeah. Now we're in this world of obviously automation is become, incredibly important, but campaigns have changed too. And in this case, we're talking about sending campaigns to a segment, to a very specific segment. We're not just blasting the whole list, and which we rarely ever do. We work on those, but again, this is, smarter segments, and I love the fact that if the system can figure out who's going to drop off, what happened to this person, why did they buy from us in the past, and why are they not buying from us now, and let's get some content in front of them that is going to inspire them. Maybe it's a discount, maybe it's something else, maybe it's more educational content. We don't know until we start testing these things, right? So fascinating. Well, let's talk about SMS. Apteo also connects obviously with Klaviyo's SMS, but Postscript as well. Attentive.
We got Postscript, Attentive, and Klaviyo are our main SMS providers and integrations.
Okay. Well, knowing that this is, SMS is it's growing in importance, right? Yeah. It's more and more brands are utilizing it, but you have limited real estate to talk about things. You don't have that same amount of space that you do, in the world of email. How does Apteo handle SMS differently, or does it, or is it all the same to Apteo?
It's funny. What our core technology is sort of agnostic on sort of the marketing channels. At the highest level, our core technology is agnostic. We're finding people who are going to respond to certain products or certain messages. We're finding people who are going to drop off or churn, and telling you how to, telling them, hey, look, you got to pay attention to these people. But we do plug in to the tools that you're using. And so part of that is actually educating our customers on how to use these, the integrations and the tools. One of the most common things that we end up telling our customers is, hey, look, SMS is not email, in the sense that you can't blast like a giant essay on SMS. Right. You have to be very constrained. Like 40 words, 50 words, maybe one image. So the ways that we're telling people to use Apteo with SMS is a little bit more targeted, right? Like instead of having an email where you've got 6 product recommendations and like a bunch of product images and a whole bunch of text, with SMS, you want to be extremely targeted and maybe take one particular group of people who are the most likely to buy one particular product, highlighting that product to those people with an SMS, and segmenting those people out from another group of people who are most likely to buy another product. And so what you're doing is you're still segmenting people. You're still finding what they're most likely to do and sending them a targeted message, but you're being a little bit more direct about it. You're saying, hey, look, we think you really like this. We think you're really going to like this product. We'll probably give you a bit of a discount on SMS just because it's a little bit more intrusive than email. Highlighting one thing, giving them a direct link to that. Oftentimes having that link auto-populate a discount code into their cart if you're using Shopify, and just being very, very sort of straightforward. You know, there's no shame with SMS. Like you're not trying to beat around the bush. You're not trying to trick the customer. You're saying, look, I want you to buy this product, but if you're using SMS properly, it's a product that they like, that hopefully they like, and hopefully that they're interested in looking at the very least. And so, you know, a lot of the technology is the same. It's just how we educate customers on how to do this stuff. Now, one thing that I'm really excited about is we're building a new AI that will actually automatically generate things like SMS messages or email content using AI, using natural language processing. And so that's some of the things that we're going to incorporate into that piece of technology. You know, we're not doing it today, but that's some of the things we're working on. And that will reflect that difference on the SMS side versus an automatic email that we create. But, you know, it's coming down the line.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. Do you personally, are you much more into receiving SMS messages from brands yourself these days?
You know, I don't like SMS. Like I'm a maybe old school guy. I want SMS to be for my friends and colleagues. And I get all of this junk SMS now where like I have to say stop or, you know, unsubscribe or whatever. Now that being said, there's a couple of brands out there where I'm like, oh, this is a cool product. I'm going to click on the link and check it out. I still kind of prefer emails personally, but that's not going to be the case for a lot of people. SMS is doing really, really well, like you said. So me personally, I like seeing stuff in emails, but I'm also always in front of my computer. Like that's my job.
Sure.
So emails are much easier for me, whereas most people like to see stuff on their phones.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. I think you know, I get it. You know, I mean, 2 years ago, I was not into receiving SMS, and now much more so. And obviously, we're doing it for clients, but I think it's a generational thing. I definitely think that brands need to really pay attention to the fact that SMS is coming fast, and it's coming with, you know, a younger audience. Let's face it. I mean, I don't think my son, who's 12, my oldest, I don't even know if he knows where to check his email. You know, he checks SMS. That's it. Well, he's using obviously social, but then he's, you know, in terms of communication, it's SMS. So his generation will be far more interested in receiving SMS from brands than email. They won't even know where to, like, they won't even care. Don't even send an email to me. So, you know, we tell brands all the time, this is an investment in the future. This is a time to test SMS. This is a time to get those who want SMS from you to do it. But now the fact that you can utilize, you know, additional layers of technology like Apteo to really power it, and what you guys are building for the future too. I mean, it's a genius, you know, move. You have to pay attention to it, whether you use it or not personally. You know, whether you love the world of SMS or whether I love the world of SMS, doesn't matter. We're not speaking to us. We're speaking to the others out there who are much more apt to use it. Well, that's one thing I noticed on your site and going through your demo video that you have on there, which I love. I love anytime a brand, any kind of brand, whether it's a software brand or a regular brand, using video to explain. One thing you do at the end, and which we do as well, is a guarantee, which I thought was very, very interesting. You really like lay it on the line to people. You're like, hey, try this. If it doesn't work, we'll undo it, and we're going to give you money on top of it too. So I guess I would say to that fact, who's Apteo not good for? What kind of brand is it not good for?
There's sort of two categories of people who we don't really do a lot of work with. So the first are sort of upstart mom and pop shops. And the reason is they don't have enough data for the AI to learn from. So in general, what we're looking for is something like 2,000 historical orders. And you're selling at least like 5 or 10 products, right? If you're a single product brand and you're just starting now, it doesn't make, first of all, it doesn't make sense to use AI. And second, it's not going to be effective because you can just send an email to all your customers. So we tend to stay away from those brands, and we tend to stay away from sort of these, the other category that we, it may not work as well for are these one-off large purchases. So like, let's say you're selling refrigerators, or you're selling like these really large or expensive Persian rugs, or whatever it is that some people are only going to buy once or maybe twice in their lives. When it comes to using AI to recommend the best product to these people, you're probably just better off showing them your best sellers, or showing them sort of the products that are best for a larger group of people, because they're only buying once, and you're not really going to get a whole lot of lift out of selling to them multiple times. Now, maybe you will, right? We just rolled out this feature where we can show the best products to your site visitors, not just to your email subscribers, but to people who are visiting your site. And if they're first-time purchasers, you might have value in showing them the best products for them based on what other people have done. But in general, if you're talking about email and SMS particularly, you're really trying to build a lifetime relationship with a customer. And if that customer is only buying from you once, maybe twice, it's not going to be as impactful. So what that means is, if we're not working with those brands, we do a lot of work with brands that are selling consumables, that are selling subscription products, that are like in food and beverage and fashion, apparel, cosmetics, things like that, where you can sell to the same customer multiple times. So, I'll be the first to say we are really well poised for certain groups of people and maybe not as much for others. And I think it's important to bring that up because from the business development side of things, you want to make sure you're working with the right customers. Sure. And from the AI side of things, you don't want to waste your time spending money on machine learning models that just aren't going to perform because there's not enough data.
Yeah, no, that's great. And it's always good to know who your customer is. And it's also good for the, the customer too. I mean, they need to get the most out of the experience. So maybe today they don't have a lot of data. Maybe they are a mom and pop today, but down the road, they have grown their, business, grown their e-commerce business into something very powerful, and they have that data. That's the time to start leveraging, and great again, because you guys can go back in time and grab that data from, and bring it into the mix and start helping them make those better decisions, helping them get, boost their email and SMS, help them boost conversions off the site, et cetera. So no, I love it. It's fascinating. I mean, this is an amazing world we are in right now, and it's just going to get more amazing. I mean, I always tell my kids that this was not like this 20 years ago. This is not like this. So let's just switch gears slightly here. Let's go back to let's take you back to college. Okay. NYU calls. All right. And they say, Sharif, we need you to come down. We've got a class here of e-commerce entrepreneurs. They're about to graduate. We want you to give them one tip that is going to, when they leave and they go start their business, is going to skyrocket their sales. What's that one tip?
I would say the most important thing I would tell them, and it's because it's the most important thing I've learned, is deeply understand the problem that your product is solving. Said differently, understand the benefits of your product. Because when you know what that is, you can sell better, you can market better, you can talk to people better, you can target people better, and it's just way easier to do business development when you understand the problem that you're solving. So just really, really know why your product is worth selling, why people are buying it, and what it's going to do for them. Most beginning entrepreneurs make the mistake of selling the product's features, but by understanding the problem you're selling, you can sell the benefits that your product solves. You can sell the benefits, which is always way more impactful. So that's the one piece of that's the one thing I would tell them, is really deeply understand the problems that you're solving, so that you can make your life a lot easier as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. My dad always used to say to me, figure out a problem, out there and solve it. But to truly understand the problem, that's another level. That's really understanding everything about it. And then, yes, it makes your product better. It makes your business so much better. And I love that you come at it from that standpoint. And that tells me that you are, each and every day you and your team think that way, within the business too. So, we're in good hands with you then, with your software, just based on that. I mean, honestly, that if you're, otherwise, why would anybody do anything? Right.
I
solving a
appreciate
problem.
That. It took me a while to learn that, right?
Sure.
As a beginning entrepreneur, I didn't think that way, but now I think that that's one of the most important things.
Yeah. Well, that's why NYU is going to call. You're coming back
There you
tell
go.
them that. Yeah. We'll switch gears one more time and jump into some rapid fire questions as we wrap things up. Good with
Let's
that?
do it.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So what gets you excited each and every day to wake up and tackle the day?
I love working with a new customer and trying to be able to drive sales for them like within the first 2 or 3 days. Like when someone new signs up with us, we're able to create a campaign, and that campaign generates sometimes thousands, if not tens of thousands of sales right off the bat. Seeing them happy about something like that is something that keeps me going. I really love working with e-commerce entrepreneurs because they're really good people.
I love it. Everybody who's listening, please go sign up. Like when I say that, when the owner, the co-founder of the business and the CEO, that's what gets them excited every day. Go sign up, because I think you might actually make some money in the first couple of days of getting the software installed on your site. I mean, so yes, jump on it. Don't wait. Don't ask questions, and get it. Take his guarantee, to heart. If it doesn't work, yeah, he's
We'll
there.
pay you. Yeah, we'll pay you guys if it doesn't work.
Yeah,
So we've seen it work so well.
stands behind his product. So what is the drink of choice to get you up every morning and get you into this mood of helping customers?
It's for the longest time, it's been coffee, and I drank so much coffee. Now I'm switching a little bit to decaf. So it's still coffee, but decaf. But I love a good Americano. In New York, there's a bunch of really good coffee shops here. So I indulge in that quite a bit.
Nice. So you actually leave? You walk down to your favorite coffee establishment?
I've got a French press, which I used to use a lot. I still use it a lot, but sometimes it's nice to leave in the morning. Now that we're not working out of an office, I'm working from home. It's like nice way to start the day. Go walk to the coffee shop across the street, come back, and then start the day. So depends on the day, but yeah, I do like that morning walk.
No, I love it. That's great. So if you could be doing any other job besides the one that you're doing at Apteo, what would it be?
I've always had this sort of vision or sort of fantasy of being like a guitarist in a band. Like I loved playing. I used to play the guitar all the time, every day. It's like one of those things for people who play music. It's a very zen sort of thing. It gets you in the zone. And so being able to play music with other people would be amazing, fantastic. Music is one of those things that really sort of drives, like, it's a very emotional thing. So I would love to do something like that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Great answer. What's your go-to SaaS software or app, the one you can't live without, whether it's on your phone or on a desktop, most likely probably on your phone? What's that one that you can't live without?
I'm gonna say ignoring Gmail, which is what I live my life in. I've really come to appreciate this tool called Notion, which is like a workspace management tool, team collaboration tool. They've taken the concept of a wiki and made it just super easy to use. And so I'm kind of running my whole life now in Notion.
Gosh, every time somebody tells me about Notion, I just feel like I have to go back to it and figure out what it is that they, love. It's one of those things. I mean, it can be incredibly complex, or it can be very simple, right? And I've watched some videos out there on Notion. I'm like, unbelievable what you can do in this thing. It's like, it needs a tutorial, right?
Yeah. It's very powerful. It's very powerful now. So but it's a great tool. At least I like it a lot.
That's great. What one talent would you give yourself that you don't currently have?
Ooh, I would going back to what we talked about at the beginning of the show. I want to get better at sales, like knowing how to talk to people and understanding how to drive home a particular point or understanding their product. As a techie, you just don't think like that. You think very logically, very linearly. Programming is a very sort of linear process, and dealing with people is just 10 times harder. And so sales is one of those things, not necessarily like SaaS sales, but just understanding people and being able to figure out how to talk to them in life and how to get them to see your point of view is a skill I continue to work on, and I would love to get better at it.
Yeah. Go back to our episode from last week. Mark Miano from Glue. He is a great person to talk to. Also, by the way, a great analytics software. Maybe you guys should connect there. But he talks a lot about that, about sales in a different manner, and it was very eye opening. A lot of very information based sales, understanding, and listen, in sales you obviously have objections, and he has these processes that he utilizes to get past the objection. But I'm with you too. It's always great to know. I mean, probably none of us are natural salespeople. We come into this and we have to learn how to do it. So to wrap up this rapid fire portion, what's your favorite online store and why?
I've bought so many shoes from Allbirds. I'd probably have to say Allbirds. I just, and it's funny because, like, I like the shoes. I don't know if I love the shoes, but they're just they make it super easy to purchase, to check out. They make it super easy to find the colors that I like. And they don't have like this large, overwhelming selection, but they do have enough where it's kind of fun to browse their products and imagine myself sort of walking around New York with some of their shoes. So they're the first ones that come to mind. But I gotta shout out to like Hannah Lay and Elizabeth Mont, one of the first few customers of Apteo. Their stores are awesome, really, really good people. Their makeup is based in like Hawaiian botanicals, so like really, really strong products there. And I love the way that they've done their sites. So I know it's not just one. I'm going to throw out those three, but those are the ones that come to mind.
That's fine. I mean, those brands, and especially Allbirds has definitely figured out direct to consumer so well. I mean, obviously there's stores. We have one here in Austin, but it's really that online experience that makes you feel like you're in the shoe. It is that it's made for you, even though you may have never even tried it before. So it is. I'm with you on that. Well, listen, this has been incredibly eye-opening for myself and hopefully others out there who came on live or ones who are going to watch the replay to really understand the AI, machine learning, predictive analytics, all of these terms that we're hearing, but what it means and how to utilize it both on your site as well as in email and SMS marketing. And you've done, just explained it in such an easy way. So I appreciate that. And thank you very much for coming on the E-commerce Revolution podcast. It's great to have you on. And we hope to, we can invite you back and maybe we can drill down a little bit more, a little bit deeper into some other areas of where Apteo can help customers out there. So yeah, if anybody has any doubts, go just sign up. Seriously. So sign up and try it. That's it. And try it and take advantage of the passion that Sharif and his team have about helping e-commerce clients or customers out there grow their businesses. I mean, that's what it's about. We are in the marketing age. We are in the marketing age right now, and you have to. And next year, things are changing. You better be ready. You better be ready for those changes, and you need to have the tools readily available to take advantage of those changes. So thank you again. If you could just take a minute, maybe just tell everybody how they can find Apteo, if there's anything you want to put out there for them, as well as how they can reach out to you.
Yeah, Ramin, it's been awesome. So I appreciate it. It's been an awesome show. Thank you so much. For folks that are interested, we have our website at apteo.co. That's apteo.co. And you can always just reach out to me directly. I'm Shanif, SHANIF at apteo.co. Would love to offer your listeners a bit of an incentive. So give them a 10% discount off of any of our subscriptions. We also offer a 1-month sort of free setup process where we use our data to get people set up with campaigns. We'll go ahead and extend that to 2 months for your listeners if anyone's interested.
That's awesome. Again, I don't know where are the roadblocks at this point. I don't know where they are. I guess maybe unless you are a business that doesn't necessarily fit the the ICP that you guys have, maybe that's the only one. But seriously, really nice. Appreciate that. Very nice to put that offer. We'll make sure we get those into the show notes of the replay so everybody can see those and post them where they need to see them so they can take advantage of it and see how this works. So again, Sharif, thank you so much for coming on. And I appreciate everything that you've done and shared with our audience. So I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week, and we'll see you in the e-commerce space. Okay.
Thanks, Ramin. Take care.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in to the E-commerce Revolution podcast. Don't forget to check past episodes. They're all available on YouTube. This episode will replay on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, but all past episodes. And don't forget to check wherever you listen to the audio version of your podcast. If you need to reach out to us and you need help with email and SMS marketing, please reach out to hello, HELLO, at skuagency.com. Mention this podcast and we'll hook you up with a free assessment worth $850. So take advantage of all these great offers that you've seen today. Thank you very much.